Marvelous Artists isn't about appeasing the crowd. Rather, it's about
hello.
broken parts inside of ourselves.
Happy Saturday.
We create
All right.
as a reflection of this struggle to study our perception.
I like this song, so maybe we'll just let it finish.
Isn't necessarily a thing you achieve.
Get everything spun up here.
Rather, it is a state of mind which you constantly strive toward.
I don't really know what we're going to work on. We put camera controls in yesterday. We might just try an even larger build grid. Like try to just max out the build grid. So whatever the theoretical maximum is going to be. You know, practical maximum. And go from there. We need to make these like guidelines like more dynamic. Like they need to adjust with the player and represent like the area that's being built in. That's an interesting challenge. I think that's pretty easy. I think we just get whatever point. I don't know. I guess we do like we could do it a couple ways. I'm not gonna worry about that too much right now. So like, oh, I should probably put a like exclusive full screen on so we can actually see everything. But like now we can actually get around. Looks okay. I'm kind of watching it on the stream. It looks really like buttery smooth on my monitor. The smoothing is a little weird, like how it slows down. But it's probably good. I wasn't thinking about this before, but I actually think we were gonna have a problem earlier. Like back when this board was like small enough to fit on screen, like it was this like diamond that was like, I don't know, like this shape. Something like this. It was like this really small. It was actually very small. Like this. There's gonna be this little thing. Problem we were gonna have was there was gonna really be no sense of depth. Because there wasn't gonna be any parallaxing with the background because the camera wasn't gonna move. But now that we're getting the camera moving, there's gonna be some good opportunities for parallaxing. Oh, because we're one layer down. That's why this is happening. So we're going to have some cool shapes. We're not going to do this diagonal look. Like, this isn't going to be... Like, a ship is not going to face forward. Forward is not this way. So we're not going to have this kind of diagonal look where, like, if you imagine this being, like, the nose or whatever. What's happening right now? Oh, I see. Like this is not the nose of the ship. So we're not going to do that kind of a design. It's cool that the camera rotation just works now. We do need to change it so that it rotates around whatever it's like. I guess we need a way of specifying its origin, or we just figure out where its center is based on the size of the AABB actually being used. So that it has somewhere to rotate around. We have a lot of space. Oh, song I was playing ended. Oh, and now we're in some other thing. Reminds me of some of the tracks I used for mini delivery. I don't understand what this weird little graphical issue is. You can kind of see it if I move around a lot. I'm going to ignore that. Could be an issue with refreshing the tile map all the time. Could be something else with the rendering system. I don't know, maybe I do just want it to stop. I like the smoothing thing, but the smoothing requires this. Like, I could turn smoothing off, but it looks a lot worse. Like, it just feels like you can tell that you're moving a pixel at a time. If I turn smoothing on, it's nice. It's nice, nice, nice. But what is this speed? Speed in pixels per second of the camera smoothing effect when... I guess I could just change this. Make it a lot more. I want to see what this what's going on here. Okay, so that does that only affect the end? If that only affects the final move, where'd it go? There it is. Cut it in half. Yeah, that seems to only be affecting final position. What if we make this just a huge number? Huge, quote unquote. Oh. I swear I'm going to remember to turn the music off eventually. Okay. I like this. I'm getting the smooth motion that I want. Like it does without the weird continuing to move on after I stop clicking the button thing. Try one more value. I'll try 16. See if we get the same behavior. Speed 16. Okay, it like does one little move to get itself into position. I'm gonna just stick with 32. That seemed good. We could add things like drag margins and stuff. There's more stuff we can do. The camera's nice in Godot. Simple, but it's nice. Not like having to do a whole Cinemachine camera thing like in Unity. But my use case is also, to be fair, very simple. Doing this crazy 3D camera stuff. I maybe did have some struggles with the camera when I was doing my 3D game, my last little 3D jam game. All right, this is nice. It's smooth movement and it stops suddenly. Yeah, okay, I like this. If anything, the camera moves a little slowly. Probably up it. Speed 100. 200. What F is going on here? Who cares? Oh, that's a little disorienting. Makes the cursor kind of insane. But I feel like this is the right speed. It does kind of scramble the cursor up in a way that's hilarious. I don't actually hate it, it's just kind of hilarious. That should be okay with us, maybe? I think I'm a little concerned if we have like a cursor selection outline thing that pops up. Maybe it'll only pop up when we actually are on something that we can select. Maybe we'll have like an outline system or something, so we don't get this kind of weird, jumpy, skittery thing. But I like this speed, especially if we're going to make the ship even bigger than this. This is very quickly becoming a different kind of game in FTL. The ship is going to be large enough that it's like managing it is going to be a whole different ball game. But it's going to be a dynamic, so this will be like the maximum size that we can support. And then when the construction is done, it will figure out the actual bounds of the ship and then just shorten everything up, probably. We'll end up with ships very different sizes. I don't know. Maybe we don't need to try bigger. Maybe this is big enough. This is a pretty large area. I think I shouldn't make this judgment until we've started actually building ships. Oh, what I do want to do is I want to solve some issues with our cutaway system. That is something I'd like to do. So can I do this now? If I made this possible to do again. So can I do this and then go down? Then go down? No. So going down is ending the construction. So I can no longer construct 3D areas at once, which is a bit of a shame. I should re-enable that. I don't know what I did to disable that. Something to do with transitioning Z levels. Kind of broke it. Okay, now we're starting to see some stutter. That doesn't feel like that's the camera. I mean, it feels like it's the camera, but I think it's actually the tilemap system taking too long to run. Which is believable. If we just started laying out like rooms and stuff, I don't know, just lay out a bunch of stuff like here, and maybe like a 4-tile hallway, and like, I don't know, some rooms. This is so boxy. We really need to address the boxiness of the system. Which I think it just comes down to having more interesting tile shapes. Like more curved or even just sloped tile shapes. But so the cutaway system, if you're at the edge of a wall, you can't really see that far into the next room. I think I want to increase that by 1. Yo, hey, smooth in a second. Boxy is the shape of most rooms. That's true, that's true. And what we need is some kind of translation from the inside of the ship and the outside of the ship. Where the outside of the ship can get more curved. The inside is more what you would expect in boxy. I'm a little disappointed we're running into a bit of a performance limit here, but it makes sense. So maybe before we try the even larger box size just for testing, I'm going to do some performance optimizations, but I'm not going to do them now. I want to work on some other stuff. So one thing I do want to do is maybe increase the cutaway like 1 more tile on the second level so you can see just a little farther. Try that and then just be probably happy. Move on to working on something else for now. So that swapping the cutaway distance would be here. Again with the magic numbers. Offset. I'm not sure which of these magic numbers it is, which is why you're not supposed to leave magic numbers. I think that might have been it, though. Maybe not. Yeah, the camera's a lot smoother now. So that definitely was the tile system that was slowing things down. Not sure what changing the 5 to the 6 was doing. I changed this to -4. That probably only affects the distance between the above layers. The other thing I need to do is to stop the system from calling blocks at the edge of the back wall. Okay, so what has this done? Not sure what this has done. So we're going to make it 0. We can figure out what this number does. Okay, so this is how far to pull back. Is this per Z level? Okay, so no, per Z level is something else. Interesting. Oh, okay, I know what the offset above is. What if I make this 5? Okay, so this is how far to go back initially. Okay, so 5 is like probably too much. Although maybe not, I don't know. Trying to get a good mix between being able to see the level that you're on and not cutting away too much. Maybe too much. We had it at 3 originally, and this is 5. Maybe we go to 4. Because I thought 3 was maybe a little too close. I'll try 4 though. Oh, this layer should not be that. Be this. What are we gonna do next? Once I've set this and I'm reasonably happy with it. Don't really know. Try to work on undo redo. We could try to work on save and load. That shouldn't be happening. We're seeing here. Oh, there's a number that needs to move the same at the same time this number moves. I think there's a number that I think this number is paired to another number, which probably should be codified somewhere. This is probably better. I'm just changing the number that's like the initial amount that we're jutting away. Oh, we're multiplying this by 2. I was like, why am I only ever getting an even step here? That is because we're multiplying things by 2 here. Yeah, so you can see in the next room a little easier if your cursor's still on this side of the room. I kind of like. Why do we multiply by this by 2 again? Trying to understand the dynamics of this. Kind of a quiet stream today. Ah, okay. I think I see what the multiplication was doing. Maybe I like this better. As far as a little bit more distance between the layers. A bit less aggressive in terms of the angle. I mean, that's a problem. So it's that, this. I do want to get save and load so I can just load this testing shape without having to redraw it every single time. Save like a basic cube or something. So maybe we'll try to re-enable that like 3D construction trick that I used to be able to do that I can't seem to do anymore. Maybe we try to get that working. No, I actually do like it this more aggressive cut in, because then you aren't even trying to see what's going on the above layers. It's just a simple way of counting. I'm on the 5th layer. So like I'm on the 1st layer, 2nd layer, 3rd layer, 4th layer. It's actually just an easy way to count how many layers you're deep. How many layers deep are you? It's the number of ceilings that you can see above you. Pretty clever. In that it's incidentally what I want. I want to offset it by 1. I want to bring the next level in by 1. By exactly 1. How should I do that? Should I say times 2 minus 1? Not sure what effect that's going to have. Oh, I wanted +1, not -1, I think. This is the phase of tuning numbers where we're not just doubling and having everything. This is like where we actually pick the good number. Maybe we document it this time as like a constant instead of just leaving it as the mystery number. Maybe. Emphasis on maybe. Yeah, this is what I wanted. Brought in by 1. One, 2, 3. I can see 4. I can arguably see 4 tiles into the next room. That's a good number. That's a good number. So it doesn't carve away. The only other thing we got to do is this cutout that happens here on the 2nd floor. See stuff going away. I don't think I can do much about that. That requires me to change this number. I think this needs to be 6 to achieve what I want, but I might be wrong. I need to be 4. Okay, that seems like that was the correct number. Now we're hitting the edge. And we're not going through on accident. Kind of weird how this works when you're like carving into a shape like this. Should almost not do anything unless, like, it shouldn't do anything unless you're actually, unless the cursor itself is inside the ship. So, like, this shouldn't really be how this works. Should like not do anything, not do anything, not do anything, not do anything, and then once we've actually touched the ship with the cursor, then it should start carving away. But that's kind of hard to do, so we're not going to worry about that right now. This is fine. This is more than sufficient. What we want. And I actually do kind of prefer this to the slicing layers off the ship, I think. I've decided. Gives you a much more 3D sense of the space. Yeah, we need to update this build area. These build guides. We need to anchor you to 0, 0, and then as you build, expand it out. That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. We don't need to do that right now, though. All right, what I would like to try... This is a lot of allocations. Oh, I should try to fix the stuff going on down here is what I should try to do. This allocation, is this the only one left? Oh no, there's one here as well. 140... 500... So, 500 megs being allocated here. This is something we should work on. So somewhere in the enumerator there, we've got some problems. We're just thrashing the small object heap is what we're doing. It's these lists. We need to stop using lists. All right, maybe we fix that today. I'm gonna do the easy thing first, which I think is the easy thing, which is to make it so I can build in 3D space and not just go layer by layer. I think that's the easy thing because I'm pretty sure I know what I did that broke it. We're not even using this click, are we? We're just asking the event if it's a type of action. Okay, so the issue isn't here, but I can't just go down. Yeah, as soon as I go down, it ends the drag event. Why? It should only be ended here. Ah, or cursor coords.z is not equal to prior coords.z. Let's not do that. So now I should be able to do this and then go down a layer. Yep, and then go down another layer and go down another layer and go down another layer. Well, that helps me quickly lay out testing areas, if nothing else, because then I can just do this and go up, go up, go up, I wonder if it would make sense to move the camera this distance so that when I went up, it'd end up in the same place that I was. It'd be an interesting way to keep the ship on screen at all times. Yeah, now it's easy to make volumes in space. How does it work if I make a floor that's 2 floors tall? It's fine. We're going to have a lot of those. We're going to have, especially now that the ships are going to be bigger, we can just have these big cargo holds and like reactor rooms and stuff. That's going to be cool. All right, so I can build in 3D space now. Get rid of some of this junk. I'm going to leave that one because we just did that one, but we need to stop doing the relative. We're not going to go back to doing relative to absolute conversions here. Hey, Ryson, how's it going? Happy Saturday. Ooh, I count the levels here? That's not good. I'm going to set that somewhere else. Yeah, how can I set that somewhere else? Thought I did that with this set board boundaries. Huh. I don't know. I could set it there. That's fine. Do I even use this anywhere? No. Yes. Right here. Say variable level count int. Going all right. It's kind of a slow. We're having kind of a slow one here today. I tightened up some of the little visibility margins that I liked. We re-enabled 3D construction, so now I can build across multiple Z layers. I think we're going to try to address this some memory allocation issues that we're having because we're being lazy and we're using lists where we could just use like a pre-sized array. Right, so here I need to say level count equals max dot z minus min dot z plus 1. That should work. Trying to not define instruction variables like that in multiple places. I don't know why I'm still doing this layer by layer. The whole point of what I was saying was that I can do this all 5 layers at the same time. So yeah, I just hollowed out all of them at the same time. That's cool. Yeah, we've gone back to this kind of tunneling cutaway system. I think I prefer it. You have camera movement now, which is fun. I keep forgetting that and not using it for anything. Oh yeah, one thing we might try is that when I go up a layer, it moves the camera up a little bit. Well, maybe not. Because then it's violating, like here the mouse cursor stays in the same spot even though it's changing where it's being interpreted. Thought it would be kind of nice. It's probably better for the player to be the one in control of that. So if the player wants to like just go up to the top level and then recenter it, they can do that. If they want to go all the way to the bottom and recenter it, they can do that. Probably don't want to take control away. I think taking over control of either the cursor or the camera are both like maybe not so great options. We also need to do the max zoom out, so we need to be able to zoom out from here to the half-sized version of the ship. That's also something we need to do. I need to think about how I want to do that. I guess we can use the same tile map. No, we can't because it's a different tile set. It's a different size. So we need a second set of tile maps at that correct size. And we need to swap between them. Excuse me. I'm a bit tired today. Bryson, yeah, moving the camera while switching between layers would mess with building across layers. It would actually make building across layers easier, which is the reason why I thought of it. I think it would make playing a huge pain, but it would make building specifically easier because you could say, I want to build here, from here to here, and now go down. If you go down, you want your cursor to be in the same spot. So now we're down a layer, but now we've moved in rather than being out here. So like for building, I could actually see the argument for doing that. Maybe if it can tell that you're doing this, that you're actively doing a build, maybe. But it's pretty easy to just scroll down a bunch of levels and then correct it yourself. So I don't know. Maybe it's not necessary. It would probably be a lot of work for very little return. For mouse and keyboard, it's trivial. Maybe if we add more joystick support. I can't imagine wanting to build ships with the joystick, but for some people, that's probably going to be the only choice. Presuming we even let people build ships, which is still up in the air. But yeah, let's not worry about that right now. The rallying cry of this channel. Let's not worry about that right now. I can fix some of this stuff. I don't need the static levels anymore. Delete that. Get rid of that. Do we even use this moving levels thing? What do we use this for? Literally nothing. Oh no, we use it here. Why do we use it here? Because they're the guides? Maybe that's right. Not gonna worry about that right now. I have the guide levels separate. I guess we could change the name. Because they're not moving anymore. They were moving when we were actually doing that. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm so sleepy. I don't know why. All right, so memory issues. So our memory issues are down here. They have to do the fact that at the end of the day here, we just iterate through all the tiles. And we don't know which tiles we're going to get. So the counts is an array now, not a dictionary. So what we could do now is we could say, we could build the layer data. Instead of it being a dictionary, we could also build this as a it would just be this. It would just be u short layer data equals counts dot size length. No, we're trying to set the capacity. Variable layer data equals new view short. There's so many ways to declare collections that I'm constantly confused. New array, not a Godot array, Jesus. I want to declare this array with an initial capacity. There we go. Counts.keys? What the F? Counts is not a dictionary anymore. Oh, it is? When did this happen? Oh, did I only make this change here? This, we want to migrate this change. We want the counts to just be an array. We don't need to make it its own iteration, though. That explains why I was having trouble doing what I thought was very simple. Counts is actually still a dictionary in this version. Key.z times levels. No, key.z times layers plus key.w. So this should be levels times layers. I guess this is also levels times layers. No, this is... What data are we actually storing here? We're just adding the... Okay, we're doing this by layer. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're doing so much shit with collections here that we're just allocating a tremendous amount. So what we want is we just want counts dot count. Like, all the dimensions of the arrays. The total number and all of these array. The hell is the difference between count and oh, it's just length. Okay. Is this not how to declare an array with a specific capacity? Is this just declaring an array and its first member is just this size? Not what I want. Also not what I want. System.array. I just want to construct an array with an initial capacity. That's all I want to do. New int 10, all values are 0. New string 10, all values are null. No, that's okay. New int, okay. I need to say. This is not the same exact syntax. So if I say variable layer data, well, let's get rid of the old data thing first. Equals new u short. Okay, now that works. Huh. Okay. All right, so now we just need to come up with the indexes for this. So we don't need to do this anymore. Add layer key data. Okay, so this is how we're setting up a list. So we don't do this anymore. We don't actually even need this layer key. For each tile in tiles.values, what we do is we say, instead of any of this, so let's just check all of this right now. So what we're going to say instead is we're going to say layer data tile dot call this area. I need to change this. Let's go to the tile. Kind of decided on a different convention. Instead of area, going to be level. So what we need to keep, maybe we need to not go through it this way. Problem with this is I need to keep track of a running tally of where we're at in this array. Did I even attempt to do this in the other function, or did I just kind of stop before we even got there? Stopped before we even got there. Oh, okay, so we have the counts for each. So we basically need to run through. Okay, this kind of sucks, but we can do this. It's a lot more iteration, but it will prevent all this insane memory allocation that we're doing. We're basically going to count, anytime we hit a tile, we're going to count up through all of the layers and levels above it, figure out where that tile is. Oh no, that doesn't work either. Maybe we can just build our layer data as we go along. No, that doesn't work either. How are we going to do this? Or are we just going to ignore this? I want this. Okay, it's actually not easy to do this another way. So maybe we're not going to do it that another way for now. We could probably do it another way once we eventually start storing this data somewhere else other than in just dictionaries on the system. So you start offloading the data back to like the entity that owns it. Probably come up with a better way of doing this. Right now, this is kind of rough. I do want to change to this, so we're getting rid of some magic numbers here. And then maybe we have a separate, maybe we just have a data index, the new int counts.length. We just measure where we're at in the layer data that we're filling. Maybe we say like, yeah, I don't know. So instead we could say layer data tile dot level times layers plus tile dot layer. That's how we get the data index. Data index integer tile dot layer. What? Oh, tile dot layer. Maybe this is the starting index. Maybe it's this times layers. Yeah. Oh no, it can't be this times layers. It would be tile.level times layers plus tile.layer. So this is how we'd get the index into a specific level. And we could say layer data start we still have the problem of if we still need to do this check where if we haven't gotten to this layer, this really sucks that we're not doing this layer by layer. Making this really hard. We're doing this in a random order. I wonder if we could sort this and then do it. That would make it much easier. We probably could. We could say is we could get this index. We can say if index is 0, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say oh, could we do that. We could just We just really need to set we need to set some data aside. The data index is not counts.length. The data index is levels times layers. So we have one array of U shorts, which is where we're putting all the tile data packed in layer by layer. We're going to keep a running count of what index we're currently on for each layer. No, we can't do that either. Oh no, we can do that. What we do need to do is an initial pass. No. How that? Basically need to count up as we go through. Okay. It's starting to assemble itself in my mind. This is probably not what I should have worked on today, but I did say it was going to be a lazy Saturday, but this is the most obvious problem to me to address. Because Ryder keeps yelling at me about it. And there isn't anything else I really want to work on today. All right, so if we haven't gotten to this layer yet, we need to set aside one piece of data for format. So we're just gonna, we could just start all of these at 1. I actually don't, it can't be 1. It needs to be 1. It needs to be something else. So if index is 0, what it needs to be is we need to set index to be, so we need to go through for integer I equals 0, I is less than tile dot level times layers plus your tile dot layer I plus plus. You say index plus equals counts I. So we need to add up everything above us so that we can get the correct index for where we're supposed to be. Honestly, we should do that initially here. We should just do that outside here when we set up the data index. Should set up the data index first is what we should do. Follow this down here. This is set the starting index within the packed data for each layer. We need to do that so we know where we're going. So actually, we're going to move this whole thing up. We're going to say for I equals 0, I is less than, it's going to be just levels and layers, levels times layers. We're going to say data index I equals, oh, we need to, this is going to be a nested loop then, huh? Well, we need to go through every layer. Oh, no, we can just keep track of a running tally. call this indices. So for each layer, index is actually going to start at 1. Is that right? We need to set aside we're going to go through here. We're going to say index plus equals count I times 6. How many values are we setting aside? 6 values, okay. Let's count I times 6 plus I. Is that right? Why plus I? Because we need to set aside 1, but is it just plus 1 for each layer? Not plus I. Yeah, it's plus 1. Although no, if we start with 1, we go through, so this layer, the number of data, the amount of data we store in this layer is the tile count times 6 plus 1. And the 1 is for the header. We say indices I equals index. This should give us the starting index for each of these. Oh, no. So the first, so it's I equals 1. No, it is I equals 0. We need to count. No. We actually need to we need to do this in the opposite order. So index, the initial index is 1. And so for the first layer, we're going to say starting index for the first layer is whatever index is now, which is 1. Then we're going to add the count. And another 1. And that's how we go through. That's the order in which we go through everything. Okay, and then when we actually get to the layer data itself, we say Should I have it be the index of the tile or the total? Probably be the total. Yeah, because we don't want to multiply this number. We want to keep this an actual accurate representation of the index. So now we get down here and we say layer data. Indices. Tile dot level times layers plus tile dot layer here we can say variable start equals this. Going to be tile dot, what order are we storing this data in? Position X, position Y, source ID, atlas chords X, atlas chords Y, alternative tile. Probably call that something else. Alt tile ID maybe. Oh, it needs to be it needs to be convert. What is it called? Convert to uint16. Convert dot to uint16. And then it's going to be layer start plus 1. Start plus 2. Source ID. No, not alt tile. We want atlas chords. Actually, I guess alphabetically. No, we're not going alphabetically. Atlas chords.x. Yep. Yep. All right. Now what we do is we say indices. What we do is actually we say plus equals 6. And that should work as an alternative. And it works even though we're going in a random order. We're keeping a running count. And then when we get down here, so this is where we encode the headers. And then here we're going through each layers. Instead, we're going to say oh, wait, this isn't plus equals counts times 6 plus 1. Shoot. Actually, that's fine. What we just need to say is we need to say if counts I greater than 0, then we do this. Because it's just a layer format. Is that how that works? Is that how we're doing that? Not layer, because yeah, if we don't touch the layer at all, like if there's no layer data on this layer at all, then we just ignore it. We never even set the initial bytes to 0 there because we don't actually use them. And then similarly here, we'd say if counts z times layers plus w. Actually call this level instead of z and w, but oh, who cares? If that is greater than 0, then we do this. Say pack data. Do we add range? Oh, is pack data the list? Why is it a list? It's a list that has a specified. Could just be an array. Should we save this up here? Should we say something like very integer count equals index plus 1? We're getting a full count of all the tile data that we're going to be storing, minus the headers. So here we would need to say oh, but it would also be count times 2 plus the counts plus layers times levels plus the oh geez, this is hard to this is why I just use lists. I didn't want to have to pre-calculate all of this. But it's doable. It's doable. So pack data is going to be u short. It's going to be new u short. This is going to be oh, this is actually make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, so if as long as I include new, I'm definitely setting the capacity and not just storing a value. It's actually not whatever this is. That's just going to be the first value. So pack data 0. Oh, it wanted to do that for me. There we go. So the count of the pack data is count times 2 plus layers times layers times levels plus 1. So it's all the tiles, including the format data, So we store once per layer, which is all accounted for under count. Not a great word to use. Plus layers times headers, or layers times levels plus 1, which is all the headers for the unpacking system to know what to do. That should be the capacity of this data here. So then the next step is to just do, that's going to be 1 plus z times layers plus w equals this. Counts z times layers plus w. So it's the count here times bytes per tile plus bytes per layer. Okay. And then down here, add each layer's tile data. So this is just the header. And then down here, what we would need to say is if counts z times layers plus w is greater than 0, then pack data oh, this is where we need to do another like running tally of some kind. Unless I can use my tally from earlier. Probably have spun this off into a function. But I have a copy of what we were doing before, so worst case scenario, I can always roll back to it. All right. So as we go along, processing tiles, we're incrementing the count for the layer that the tile is in. When we're done with all that, when all the tile data is all ready and good, what we do here is we set the starting index within the pack data for each layer. So man, should I just do this once? Is there a reason I'm doing this twice? I should probably start with the header. Start adding the headers. Then add all the tile data. Because right now I'm preparing all the tile data. Then trying to add the header. And then trying to add all the tile data back. That seems dumb. Now that I think about it. It made sense when we were doing it with like dictionaries and lists and stuff. But we should do this a different way now. We should move this part up. Move this part up here. So here we're add the layer count. Add the layer count and layer sizes as a header to the pack data. Yes. So pack data is this. U short. Oh, I guess the only thing about this that we actually do need this counter first. Okay. We actually need this count first. All right. So set the starting index within the pack data for each layer. Let's say determine. So index, so this index actually needs to be set first. So this index needs to be, the initial index is actually going to be, I want to declare these counters up here better. Bytes per layer, bytes per tile. Going to be 1 plus one for the uppermost header. Let's actually say this. Let's say header count headers constant integer headers equals 1 plus levels times layers. So index equals headers plus 1. Oh, this should be headers. So we get the headers out of the way. We add the 1 to account for the format data, the tilemap format value, which is always 0. So we just pop that index up once and leave the 0 there. Indices is a new array of levels times layers. This is our running count of indices here that we're going to use. Indices I equals index. So for 0, indices I is just going to be all of the headers plus 1 for the, what do you call it? Well, we're storing this as U short. Should we actually be converting this down? No. We actually don't need to convert it down. We can go straight from U short to byte, which is what we're going to do. So we're going to say so after that, if there's any tiles in this layer, oh, we actually need to say int equals count 0 is greater than 0? Question mark. If it is, then it's headers plus 1. Otherwise, it's just headers. Got to make sure. If a layer is empty, we do not add the 1 for the tilemap format header. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I'm going to say constant int format equals 1. Headers plus format. Here it's going to be Okay, so now we're going through this. Indices is a new int, levels times layers. So for each of these, indices equals index. The index, we then add the counts for that layer multiplied by 6 plus the format. I actually don't like writing that out as format. I think I just like writing it out as 1. And then the count. I foresee one problem with this, but let's see if we can get around it. But I'm sure there's plenty of problems with this that I do not foresee, but I foresee one. Okay, so we get the whole count. We get both the count of all of the data together, which is just where the index ends up at the end, plus 1. Plus 1 because an index is 0 based and starts counting at 0. Then here we say add the layer count and layer sizes as a header to the pack data. So that's fine. So we can say pack data. You can almost just say data. I like pack data. It gives it a context that we wouldn't otherwise have. So pack data is a new U short. It's count times 2. It's not times 2. Because this is still in U short form. So it's the count. It's not plus layers times levels plus 1 because that's now included in the count. So it's just the count. So pack data is a new U short. Pack data 0 is layers times levels. For each of these, pack data 1 plus Z times layers plus W is convert to U into, is it this number? Is it this? Okay, so we have 2 different places that we can do this count. And we need to be sure we're not doing it in multiple places. So why is this times bytes per tile plus bytes per layer? Why are we writing this in here? Oh, because that is what we're keeping track of. These are the headers. The headers actually need to tell you how many bytes are going to be in it, not just the count. It needs to tell you the number of bytes. But because we're multiplying by 6 and adding 1, we actually don't need this whole thing. We just need to multiply the thing by 2. We can get rid of these consts. So we're actually just going to say counts Z times layers plus W. Actually, maybe this is the right way to do it. Times bytes per tile plus bytes per layer. Yeah. And we ignore this index thing. This index thing has a different context. We could theoretically use it. We could say, oh no, because this is the starting indices. Yeah. Okay. Okie doke. All right, now here's the juicy part. So we can get rid of this layer data structure. We don't need this. We just need this. So third pass. Is it the third pass? I guess it really is. Third pass. Build out the tilemap data byte arrays for each layer. Yes. I could also just say this. Add the tilemap data for each layer into the pack data array, but whatever. I could also say pack. Whatever, who cares? I hate writing these kinds of actually find these kinds of comments to be super unuseful. There's a kind of comment that I find super useful, like I could say Control F and I could say bulk layer Z. And now here's a section of code that handles bulk layer Z, and I could go down again and I could go, here's another section of code that handles bulk layer Z, another bulk layer Z. That's useful to me. Kind of like sort of descriptive comments, I actually find very unuseful. They often fall out of they often become inaccurate over time. Okay, so now we get down here, we say start is indices tile.level times layers plus tile.layer. So we go for the indices at this, and then the indices we add 6 to account for the 6 that we just added. We use this anywhere? Count. Oh yeah, we use it to declare the pack data. Okay, so then we pack all the data in here. It sucks that we're doing this tile by tile in a random order, but c'est la vie. This should actually have eliminated most of the issues. Add each layer's tile. We can skip this part because we're already doing this. Doing it directly there. And then last part here, we just say pack data.asSpan. We don't need to say toArray. I don't think, oh, does this only return a span? It does. Have to be toArray. Can it be like asArray? I don't think the system was complaining about toArray. But I think the toArray part is actually totally fine. Will you take me here? No? Okay, maybe you already did. Oh, you are. You are currently doing that. What about this one? Go. Oh, that goes in the list. Yeah, so setting the capacity of the list was like bad time. Let's go down here. I guess the toArray part was actually not a problem because we're pinning that and we're actually using that anyway, so whatever. Cast toArray. Oh, is it this dot toArray? Yeah. All right, time to just run this and see what crazy errors we run into. I'm sure there will be many. Okay. Definitely running into some issues. None fatal, but some weird. Corrupted tilemap data. Tiles might be missing. Out of bounds get index 35 on base array tilemap layer. Unpack tilemap data. Interesting. Corrupted tilemap data. Tiles might be missing. Okay, so we aren't packing this. We're definitely not packing this correctly. Hit index 35. Index 35. So that's implying that we have 7 layers over 5 areas. We should never get up there. So why are we getting up there? So many errors. Console is supposed to be red, right? Yeah, it makes it easier to read. Makes it easier to read. How's it going, full box? Ready to release your game in like a week and a half? Going, just chilling a little. Yeah, chilling is going to be important. You don't want to burn out right as you hit the finish line. Set up Steam Cloud this morning. Nice. Nice. Okay, so we're passing. My instinct is that we're passing a header that is bad. I'll run this from the Godot side and see if I get anything different. Yeah. So here, saying whole layers I.tilemap data equals pack tilemap data dot slice layer begins, layer ends. This is all good. Layer count. So I think maybe we've changed the way we encode the headers. We're at least adding 1. Index 35. Yeah, we're trying to reach out just 1 outside the array some reason. I probably can figure out why. You're learning a lot about the backend right now. It's interesting. It can help for future projects too. Yeah, I believe that. Understanding how that whole Steam Cloud works can only be helpful. Sounds good. I think all the stuff they offer on that Steam Cloud stuff is so good. Like even just like the ability to handle mods through there and everything, and it is like enormous. That's so great. Like a workshop, I guess it's called. I mean, even just cloud saves is really nice, but there's so many features in there. All right, so this is where we do the layer thing. So here we're saying pack data 0, layers times, layers times layers. Oops. Levels times layers. Well, that's definitely was one of the problems. Hell yeah, was that the only problem? Nope. Something is happening. Something is happening on the layers other than the first layer. What is that? I'm going to rerun this and not go to the second layer. Weird, interesting that the first layer works just fine. Okay, so no errors unless we go down from the first layer. That's interesting. Yeah, you haven't looked into that. You can easily track stats about your players. Oh yeah, that's probably really nice. That's almost certainly tremendously useful. Interesting how there are no errors here. Oh, there are millions of errors. What are they? Unsupported tilemap data format 12. Okay, so we're not sending we're not sending the tilemap format. The first number that the tilemap gets should always be 0, because that's just an acceptable format for us. So we're not setting that header correctly for each layer. If that's the only problem, I'm quite happy. That's in here. That's in this horrible mess here. So count Z. Oh. No, it's not, it shouldn't be this. I think the header thing is actually working ostensibly. I think we're sending the correct headers. Problem is probably here. Oh, their starting point should be correct. The starting index is the indices for this tile level times layers plus the layer. So we read this, we set it all, set it at start, start plus 1, start plus 2, start plus 3, start plus 4, start plus 5. Then we add 6 so that the next time we come back, we'll start at start plus 6. So are we not reserving the first? We're either not reserving the first thing correctly, or we could potentially be sending the wrong count through in the header for each level or each level. That's very possible. The layer begins at the layer count times 2 plus 2. What? That's not right. The layer count is here. Oh, yeah, no. Layer count times 2 plus 2. So if the layer count is 35, it's 35 times 2 because they're bytes and not U shorts, and then plus 2 for the count itself. So that's right. And for layer index in range layer count, layer sizes dot append pack tilemap data dot decode U16 layer index times 2 plus 2. Calling that layer index is wrong, but I understand what it's doing. So we're saying the first layer it's layer 2, so it's the index, which if it's 0, it's just the plus 2, which is skipping the header. Okay, so I think we're finding the layer sizes correctly. So I feel like it seems like the headers are right. Probably we're just storing the actual tile data incorrectly. It seems to be what we're doing. like the actual compressed tile map that's being packed in. That's not compressed, but packed in. I think we're packing that data incorrectly. Trying to doing a version of our data packing stuff that doesn't allocate quite so much on the C# side. So we rewrote it a bit. Okay, hull layers, tile map data. Layer ends is layer begins plus layer sizes. X. Why do I even have this index concept? Can't I just put I in here? I think I did that differently before because we were iterating through the children and then the grandchildren, but now we've just put them all into one array. I feel like I can get rid of this. Yeah, I think I was iterating through nodes, like with a for each, so I needed to keep track of the index separately, but we definitely don't need to do that. I don't think that contributes to anything, but... All right, so the first layer works, which is interesting. But then we start to desync once we get down beyond the first layer. So we're recording, maybe we're recording the layer format offset like too many times or not enough times or something, but somehow we're missing the format or we're overshooting or something as soon as we get down to a lower level. If I just stay at the top level, I don't think we run into any problems. Machine, sorry you just got in the live. What FTL stands for? It is FTL faster than light. Okay, yeah, no errors. It's a classic game. I say classic, it doesn't feel that old, but no, I don't feel that old and yet. It's a spaceship game. It's a top-down spaceship management kind of game. Kind of abstracted, where you manage a crew and a ship. And we're kind of doing our own take on it at a bit of a different scale and a different presentation. We're kind of doing an isometric 3D version of this. Probably going to be worse than FTL in every way, but it's going to be interesting. I should probably count how big the FTL ships are, including their walls. I counted them before with just the tiles, but I didn't consider the fact that for us, the walls are also a tile. But I feel like their scale is something we just can't do. These like 2x2 rooms and 2x1 rooms. Our rooms are going to be much bigger than this. And it's actually kind of a problem, but yeah, we're doing this kind of isometric 3D look. Kind of what we're going for. Welcome to the channel. Hope you're having a great weekend. All right, so how could we be putting the wrong number in here? So determine the starting index within the pack data for each layer. So this part seems fine. So we say headers is 1 plus the number of levels times the number of layers. Is there anywhere else where I accidentally multiplied that wrong? Doesn't seem like it. Never knew about it. Yeah, it's worth checking out. It's a good game. Usually on sale for like dollars, like individual dollars, like nowadays. Really good. We're kind of making a larger scale, maybe less. I wouldn't say less intense, but we're definitely going larger scale, which is not a good idea, but kind of the road we're on. The two of them made FTL in like a year and a half, and I'm one person, so I'll probably end up making this in like 6 years. So the index is the counts 0 for the first layer. So the count for the first layer, if the count of the first layer is greater than 0, we start the index off with headers +1. Otherwise, we just say headers. Because if the layer is empty, we don't actually account for the layer format bytes. There's just this value that goes at the beginning of every tilemap layer that tells you its format, and we just need to account for that. So headers is 1 plus levels times layers. That's 1 for specifically the value of levels times layers, and then one more value for each of those layers. That's the header. We got that. We account for that. We account for the 1, which might be present in the first layer. So this all works. What gets us into trouble is after this. So basically this is fine, and then from here down there's a problem. So index plus equal counts I times 6, yeah, plus 1. That should be good. Oh, it's not counts I, it's counts. No, it is counts I, because I is 0 here. So we take the count, because we're adding it after we assign it. So counts I times 6, which 6 is the number of values that we copy over for each tile. Your position X, position Y, source ID, atlas coords, and alternative tile. We have 6 values per tile that we copy over. So we multiply the counts times 6. We add 1 for the format. So we don't want to copy over the format. We just want to skip the format. And then here we say count is index plus 1. The index ends up being this crazy thing here. The total count of data. So pack data is a new U short with count. Then here we say the first entry is just the number of levels times the number of layers. For the rest of the header, we go through each 1 plus Z times layers plus W. That's each layer. Counts Z. So it's the count for this layer in terms of tiles multiplied by the bytes per tile, 12, plus the bytes per layer, which is 2. Maybe the problem's here. So for every tile in tile.values, we grab the start, which is the current value at indices for this tile's level times the number of layers. plus this tile's specific layer. We pack in start plus 1, start plus 2, start plus 3, start plus 4, start plus 5. Convert the data down. Then here we say, okay, so the indices now the starting indices, or the starting index is plus 6, plus equals 6. It should start at 1. So as long as a layer has any tiles in it, we add 1 plus the number of tiles. There possibly something happening here, up here, where we're actually getting the counts? That seems unlikely, because if there was a problem with the counts, we would notice it somewhere else. So here we go through every single key in the hulls.keys. Get all the way down to the bottom here for counts for key.z plus times layers plus key.w plus plus. Okay. So tiles is tile with source ID, atlas chords, alternative tile. Okay, so I think the counts are good. What if I do this? What if I don't build anything on the first level? I go straight to the second level. Okay, we instantly crash. All right, because this is a problem with the tile map, I'm gonna debug it here. What's going on here? Unsupported tile map data format 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Yeah, it looks like they're reading our X coordinate as, maybe it's a count. No, it's probably an X coordinate as the ID. So yeah, we aren't sending them the correct. Huh. I think it's breakpoint time here. Let's stop here. Actually, let's just stop here. Fine. This should all be good. Pack data U short 37. So 35 is the count. Oh, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2. Oh, these are the values. Okay, so for the first layer, so every layer is recording 2 right now. Except for this layer down here, which is the actual layer that has any of the data. What the F? It's just one value. Okay, so the headers are not good. The headers are not healthy and doing well. That's interesting. Let's stop. Like in a loop somewhere. Or let's stop here. Why is this running even when it's empty? Oh, I know why. That's actually correct. All right. So index 36 counts 35, so it's zeros all across the board. That's the correct thing for the counts. The indices are here. They start at 36. Not exactly right. No, I guess that is exactly right. 36 would be the first index of actual tile data. And they're all starting at 36 because there's no actual tile data. Okay, so far so good. So the count is 37. The data count, the total data count, and that is because oh, I think the total count we've got is like not right. But that shouldn't do anything. If the count is too high, that shouldn't do anything. But it's definitely wrong. The index is 36, and that's because we have our top level header, which is the count of layers. Then we have one for each layer, which is 35. So the count should actually be, if everything is 0, the count should actually be 36. It's 36 pieces of data. Okay, so this +1 is erroneous. But that shouldn't do anything. Okay. So pack data. Why is there number 2 in all of these? So it's 1. It's counts z times. All right. Let's see. Let's see this. So counts. Yeah, you're all 0 as you should be. Oh. I see. See maybe where I went wrong here. How has this never been a problem before? I'm gonna go look at their compatriot up here. Go look at the other branch, which is the old way of doing this. How have I never run into an issue with this? We're forgetting to omit empty layers. That never happened here. Packdata.add, convert to uint16 counts, times bytes per tile plus bytes per layer. Oh, no, that's because we do send empty layers back. So if a layer is empty, we just put the format in it and just send only that back. Is that necessary? Or is that causing us some problems? It's very possibly causing us some problems. And that would explain the desync. I want to check something. My instinct tells me that if a tile map is empty, it doesn't even have the format. But that's how we've been operating this whole time, and it works. So I don't actually want to change that. What I want to change is our modeling of it. So here, instead of doing this, where we're saying counts is greater than 0, we're going to actually increment this either way. It's just always going to be headers +1. And then now instead of this, it's going to just be, we increment this every time. And this should be different now. Actually, probably didn't want that breakpoint. Now it says a U short of 90. A bunch of zeros at the end. Maybe we did need that check somewhere. Why is the count 90? Oh, we actually have some counts. So layer 0, 1, 1. So that's 3. That's 3 times 6. Plus 1 for each layer. That doesn't sound right. The 37 is where the first tile map layer starts. That's correct. And then 44, 51, and then 58, 9, 60, 60. This actually might be right. Let's try it. Let's get rid of this breakpoint. Okay, layer 0 is working okay. Down in a layer. Layer 2 is working okay. 3, fine. All right, the layers seem to be working. Any errors? No, no errors. No. 112 errors. Oh, that's from last time. Run again. Make sure that's still the case. All right, I think we just rewrote this. I think we just rewrote the tile packing to not to be like only have like one allocation. Or maybe two. Because we allocate the U short array and then we allocate a byte array from the U short array. But that's way better than all the dictionaries and lists and shit we were using before. I'd be interested in if people prefer building things by using the camera rotation or if they're going to prefer just mousing around. Camera rotation makes this so much easier. I do need some kind of check that, like, if you're not trying to cut into the ship, just don't do it at all. But again, we talked about that earlier, and that's going to be a pain in the butt. So let's not think about it right now. But now, from this standpoint, we just wait. We just wait for the memory allocation issues. Small object heap issues. Mark is resolved. I swear we found a mark is resolved button before. And now I cannot. Do I do it here? There's like maybe too many features in Writer. All right. How the hell do I just tell it I think I've fixed this? I found this before and I cannot find it now. Ignore, mark as fixed. All right. It should come back if it detects it again, which it will in some other piece of code probably. If it's still there at least. I think we might have got it though. I should probably split this off into like its own function. Just call it like pack tilemap data or something like that. Call it like output packed tilemap data. It just needs a reference to the dictionary. Whatever it was. Is it vector 4i tile? Something like this? No, it's it's vector 2i. No, it's not a dictionary anymore. It's int count. This counts. This is, yeah, just an array of integers. Counts, plural. I'm going to just call this pack tilemap data. Here we'll say actually we'll just put it all in here. Output packed tile map data. This whole chunk in here. Whole thing. Really wish indenting was retained correctly when you moved code around. I don't know why it's not, honestly. This way, if we switch to the other method, we can just make use of this function. And have consistent behavior, at least from this standpoint. So we actually want to go up and grab our other implementation, which is our change only implementation instead of the whole thing. I really don't like big monolithic systems like this, but when prototyping, I feel like it's fine. So we do this, press that, expand this. I think we're already collecting the counts. I think we're doing it in one scoop at the end here. Yeah, we're counting the number of tiles in each layer. So instead of this whole mess, instead we're just going to say output pack tilemap data counts. There we go. Now at least that part of it is unified and correct regardless of which path we choose. Oh. When did this come up? 12 p.m. It's 2 p.m. We're gonna run this again and see if we encounter this. Actually, do I need to run it in debug mode to get that feature? I don't know. But we're gonna run this again and see if we observe that same memory leak. Not memory leak. That just like Allocation's gone wild. Keep forgetting I can build in 3D now again. I keep doing it layer by layer. All right, so we're just messing around. We're just doing stuff, trying to provoke memory allocation issues. Just doing our thing. We're gonna have a lot of hallways. I feel like that's what's gonna cause. That's what's really gonna take up a lot of space is like hallways. I feel like I want my hallways to be like 3 or 4 tiles wide. Yeah, if they're only 3 tiles wide, you actually can't see them. I feel like I'm gonna want my hallways to be 4 tiles wide. Yeah, because at least if you have a 4 tile wide hallway, even if the walls, like you can at least see that there's a hallway. It's not just a series of walls. I feel like that's going to be my standard hallway size is going to be 4 tiles, which is insane. That makes it so much larger than FTL. I'm not like a level designer, so this is going to be really interesting to see how this ends up working out. I'm still a little concerned that you can't see enough. So we may end up eventually going back to a different visibility system, but I want to try this one out at least. It would be really cool if this one works. I need a better indicator of where the doors are. I need to decide what I want to do. Yeah, we need to handle the rotation a little bit better. You need like another system that's repositioning the construction as you're doing it, so that it's always centered amongst itself. So we don't get this kind of weirdness happening. I can see into the rooms though, which is cool without cursoring over them. You can kind of see a bit into them. Hopefully enough to get an idea. Was this observed just now? You observe this? Nope. It was last observed 12 p.m. Pretty sure we fixed this. That's awesome. I think we've addressed all major allocation issues in the tilemap system now, which feels good. Feels good. 4 grammar errors? How dare you? How dare you, JetBrains, judge my grammar? All right, that feels pretty good to have done. This is not good. Just like passing through the whole tile system. Having to go through each tile randomly. It'd be so much better if I could go through them sequentially. I guess is meaningless. Yeah, I'm gonna need to start thinking about how to make the boundaries elastic so they grow and shrink as the construction grows and shrinks. So that we're not wasting a lot. And so that things like rotations and stuff work correctly. Yeah. Well, that felt really productive. Super quiet day otherwise. Pretty happy with our progress today. Okay, I'm gonna remember that I can do a 3D construction. So I do this, and then I mouse down, and then I go out, and I mouse down, and I go out, and I mouse down, and I go out, and I mouse down. Oh, can't mouse down anymore. And I can do this, and I can hollow these all out. Yeah, that feels pretty good when combined with the scroll wheel for going up and down. Awkward if I use the keyboard to go up and down, but scroll wheel for up and down feels pretty good. All right. That was unexciting, but good. That was a good thing to do. What else did we do besides that? We did some stuff earlier. Oh yeah, we tightened up the visibility stuff. We got the 3D building working again. 3D construction stuff working again. Over the weekend and early next week, like before the next stream, I'm gonna do some looking up into some parallelization task stuff, because if what we could do, which would be really great, is in the main system here, just have the main system's run function just be like kind of a task factory, and just have it run all the tasks sequentially. And then if we call main system again next frame and the tasks aren't finished, we just wait. And just have basically to have the main system, which receives delta time from the game. Basically have the main system manage itself as far as like its update frequency. Like it updates as often as it can within reason. We might even just lower it to a lower frequency anyway. Maybe we make it like 30 hertz update frequency or something. We probably want it to be as fast as possible. But yeah, give it a few more frames. Yeah, make it something like 30 hertz or something, like, because it will still feel responsive relatively, because the ship will still, all the rendering and stuff is handled by Godot, and that's all running at whatever the normal refresh rate is of the user. So you'll still be able to, even if the update system is taking a little longer, you'll still be able to pan the camera around and everything. All of this stuff will be very responsive. I could do with actually a little less responsiveness from this thing, from this blurry mouse cursor thing that's happening. Kind of funny. But yeah, we'll see. I think that'll be cool. I'm gonna work on that. Our next stream will be Tuesday, because that's our schedule, is Tuesday to Saturday. I'm gonna put on some tunes. He says confidently. There we go. And I'm probably gonna just play myself out. This has been nice. This has been nice and low key. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Basheen, welcome to the channel. Ryson, always good to see you. Full box, move in a second. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you next time. Bye.